right, it's Brian.
Jason.
And this is Perfectly Screwed Podcast. So, how's it going, everybody? How's it going?
Hope everybody's doing well. I'm doing okay. Brian, you doing all right?
I'm alive, and I'm half lit, so yeah. Yeah.
It's a Labor Day weekend, bud. You deserve it.
Hey, I drank a few shots of cinnamon liquor, which was completely disgusting. Actually, I was kind of pissed off a little while ago because I went to the liquor store. And I specifically, and I haven't had this.
Which is open now on Sundays in Indiana. God bless America. Go ahead.
Yeah, for like the last year or two. Yeah, we're in a backwards state, ladies and gentlemen. You see, up until about a year or two, you could not sell liquor on Sunday because of God. Lord knows. Oh, speaking of God, have you heard about this televangelist, Jesse? I can't remember his fucking last name for the life of me. But he was doing a telethon. I got to tell you this before we go any farther. This is fucking great. Okay, his exact words on the telethon was, the reason I believe Jesus... Hold on. I'm not going to be able to get through it without laughing. His exact words were, the reason I believe Jesus has not come back. Now, you got to picture this, guys, first of all. Let me set up the scene. Okay, he's an older guy. Got kind of poofy, comb back hair, a little bald in the front, gray, wearing the normal televangelist minister suit with the checkers, looking supreme.
Dapper.
Right. So he goes, the reason I believe Jesus hasn't come back yet is because people aren't donating enough money. He said, I believe.
Hey.
He goes, no, listen.
Wrong.
He goes, no, listen. He goes, I believe, because we live in an economic society, that if you just gave money to the number at the bottom of your screen and gave money to our ministries, that God would tell Jesus, go get him. Then he turns around.
I love this guy.
Then he turns around and goes, am I a millionaire? Yes, I am. Do I have a private jet? Yes, I do. And you can have it the day after the rapture because I'm going to heaven. Jesse's going to heaven.
Hey.
So there you are, ladies and gentlemen. The secret is solved. Okay? You want Jesus to come back? Just donate to Jesse. Okay? He's only got one private jet. He needs two. He
doesn't need any of them.
You're damn right.
Jesse's going up with the rapture.
Yeah, if you get $10 million to Jesse,
Jesus is going to take us out of here.
God's going to tell him, go get him. God's going to tell him. All it needs is $10 million, ladies and gentlemen. And let me tell you something. I have a prediction. If you donate $10 million to the Perfectly Screwed Podcast, Jesus is going to tell you to go get him.
He's coming back
damn right.
Immediately.
You're damn right. You want him to come back, solve all your problems? All we need is $10 million. You drop me and Jason $10 million, I guarantee you, Jason, you can guarantee it too. Jesus is going to come back.
You know why I wish every single person in the world did listen to our podcast, Brian, so that I could tell every single person in the world this.
Jesus.
It's 2022, guys. If you are still giving one fucking cent of money that you have earned, right?
Mm.
And that money that you earned has already been picked away by the fucking government, by the way.
Damn right.
But if you're giving 1 cent of it to any fucking ministry,
come on now,
or any church, or anybody that claims that Jesus is coming back, it's 2022. Save your money.
Hey, if you want him to come back in 2023, Perfectly Screwed Podcast can make it happen. You just donate $10 million.
But that's the point. That's the truth. The truth is, you could give it to us, and it's going to gain you the same amount that it's going to gain you giving it to this ministry.
I'm in the wrong business.
Yes!
I'm in the wrong business.
It's a business.
I'm going to start preaching.
It's a multi-trillion dollar annually business still.
I'm going to start preaching on TV. I'm telling you right now. I've done changes, Jason. Fuck everything else I've said. I am a true believer. After Jesse told me he's a multimillionaire and he's got planes, I'm going to become a televangelist.
I got to tell you, I've never seen it. Never heard of him. I love the Jesse guy.
I do. He's a good guy.
He's a fucking hell of a businessman. We should hire him to get the word spread about our podcast.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
I'm just telling you. Like, and anybody that wants the information, all you got to do is go to YouTube, type in Ray Hagen's. There will be no rapture, and Jesus is not coming back. And that's not me saying it. That's not Brian saying it. The Bible says, the Bible literally says that there will be no rapture, and Jesus is not coming back. So,
I mean, at this point, if you believe anything televangelist, I mean, Jimmy Swaggart alone should have kicked that in the ass. I mean, not to mention the many others who have fallen way short of what they should have been. They
prey on the minds of people that really just don't know any better, man.
No, they prey on the minds of people that have hope in something that probably isn't real.
Well,
I mean,
and a lot of them are older people that aren't all there, that are literally on the brink of death.
Well, see, Christianity and religion in general is the most amazing thing in the world, because you take them when they're young. And you take your kids when you're young and you brainwash them over and over and over and over and over to believe this shit. So when they grow up, they don't think for themselves. It's automatically programmed in their brain that this is how it is.
Yeah.
That's why 90% of people believe whatever religion they were raised to believe.
Yeah, I mean, the same people that gave you Christianity, that gave you Jesus, also gave you the quote, "Give me the boy from 0 to 7, and I'll give you the man." Right? Meaning, when you're born until you're 7 years old, your brain is operating in theta wave state. That's hypnosis. Mm-hmm. You're just downloading information. That's it. Well, where are you downloading it from? Your environment, your surroundings, your parents. And just like you said, if they're sending you to church and they're taking you to church, you are being brainwashed, literally, from 0 to 7 years old. And then the rest of your life, you then will run. 95% of your life will be ran automatically by your subconscious brain, what you learned 0 to 7.
See, that's why I don't hold anything back for my kids. That's why. I mean, if I'm watching a movie, they can watch it. I don't give a damn. So it has a little nudity in it. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Tits are tits,
and
man.
If we're having a conversation, no matter what the conversation is, and they're around, then we're still having the conversation.
You're damn right.
Right.
Tits are tits. And I believe if you show kids tits at a young age, that later on they won't be so apt to see tits. When you refrain from showing them all that, they want to know what it is. They want to get in that knowledge. And if you just open it up and say, hey, it ain't no big deal, there's some tits.
Curiosity.
Yeah.
That's just what we are. We're curious. And the other quote that these people gave you was, "He who will be deceived, let him."
Oh, yeah.
Let him.
Great religion.
I mean, dude, they're lying to you, but they're lying to you with the truth right in front of your face, and you still believe it? That's on you.
Well, you know what? That's our government, too.
Of course it is.
Yeah, I'm just saying. That's pretty much society. They give you a little bit of truth. They give you a little bit of truth and a lot of lies and hope you swallow the lies as much as the truth.
I mean, you get the government you deserve.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. I mean,
like they say, COVID. Yeah, it's a virus. It's spread everywhere. We don't know about it. It's deadly. Maybe. They add the maybe.
We think.
We don't know yet. But we better just put on masks just in case, guys.
Right.
Because it could be. Could be. We don't know. Could be. We haven't researched it enough. But they always add that little part at the end. It's like the disclaimer at the end of the medication. They tell you how great this medication solves all the problems. And at the very end of the commercial, they go through 30 seconds of really fast talking about how it can kill your ass. Oh, yeah, well, it cures your headaches, but it can cause high blood pressure, low self-esteem, no rod.
No, the best one for me recently is, if you're allergic to this medication,
please don't take it. Yeah. By the time you find out,
what the fuck?
And then they tell you right after that, allergic reactions include death.
Of course.
Wait, What do you mean?
If you're lucky, because I don't want the fucking exploding diarrhea.
Well, you better hope death isn't if your first allergic reaction to it.
Right. Like, I mean, if death looks like the best option compared to these other ones, what do you mean my skin falls off? What the fuck does that mean?
Your head might dislocate from your shoulders, but it'll cure your headache.
Your cheeks will fall from your face.
You might spontaneously explode,
Right.
but you won't have a headache anymore.
Headache's fine.
High blood pressure is gone.
No, dude. If you read the gut, if you actually take the time to read, which nobody does or will, why the fuck would you?
This is the thing. It's like
your medication, your prescriptions come with a bag and
Right.
a receipt, and it also comes with a huge fucking list of what the shit is and blah blah
and
blah.
what it could do.
And basically, in the small print, in the most technical fucking words they can use, what it really says is, we're not really sure what this shit does.
Yeah.
That's literally what it's telling you.
Well, that's like blood pressure medication.
That's why medicine is called a practice, man. They're practicing.
Right. Well, that's like beta blockers. Beta blockers lower blood pressure, yeah, but you also have about a 90% chance of not getting a heart on if you're a guy. So,
Right.
you know, if the debate is
Start weighing out your house.
yeah. And this is the thing. Not only that, but they have other options for high blood pressure medicine. That's not the only one. In fact, there's some high blood pressure medication that not only will not decrease your sex drive, but it actually increases it. It increases blood flow to your genitals. So it's like, well, why won't I get that option? Why don't you recommend that one? I mean,
How about the option of you got high blood pressure? Take a couple fucking days off.
or
And a couple deep breaths.
maybe stop eating McDonald's. I'm just
Right.
saying. Lose a little weight, guys.
Sure.
I'm just saying.
Quit. Right. Yes, and that is right.
But-
People wake up
Right.
to the daily fucking grind.
Right.
They don't have a lot of fucking time. What are they doing on their 30-minute lunch break? Pulling through fucking McDonald's. Right? They get off work. They say, I got shit to do. I got fucking laundry to do. I got to fucking go to get kids Johnny from practice. Sally has a game. Fuck, now it's 8 o'clock. Where we got to eat. Where are you going?
Look, I can't say nothing because I got a dad bod, I'm smoking a cigarette, and I've been drinking. So
I love high blood pressure.
Hey, whatever.
And McDonald's.
But you know what? I also deal with the consequences. If I die at 60,
Right.
it's probably because of the McDonald's, the beer, and the cigarettes. But you know what?
Well, right.
Do I really want to live to 90?
If I start...
I've seen people that are 90. They don't look happy to me.
If I start feeling bad and I have high blood pressure, my first option is not going to be the doctor, and it's not going to be pills. It's just like, I mean, it's going to
Yeah,
be,
I'm going to
exercise,
change my shit.
I'm going to stop smoking so much. I'm going to stop eating fast food.
Right.
I'm going to fuck... A lot of people just need to relax.
So since I have been drinking, though, and I wanted to explain the drinking game, because last couple episodes we didn't say it, and, you know, if anybody's out there who didn't listen to the other episodes, although from the statistics on the web, you guys are listening to our other episodes, so I do appreciate that. Yeah, I see you listening to them, so I appreciate that you're listening.
Spread the word.
Yeah. Although the first few episodes, I'm going to tell you, they suck ass, so if you're listening to the first ones and then you decide to listen to the later ones... Listen to later. Well, the sound quality wasn't great. Now we got much better. But I want to explain the drinking game before we get too far. If I fuck up a word, which I might do because I've been drinking, feel free to take a shot. If I fuck up a phrase, feel free to take two. As a matter of fact, if I fuck up in any way, just feel free to take a shot. Because
Brian will be shooting with you today.
Yeah. Well, I'm not shooting, but
Well, you got beer.
I'm going to be drinking beer while I go. But what we're going
to swig of beer is a shot.
I guess. I'm going to be swigging beer either way. But it sounds like you've been drinking, man.
I wish.
Now, here we're going to start with this. Do you know that there is 15,000, or not 15,000. I already fucked up. God damn it.
Is that
Yeah, kind of, because it's 1,500.
But it's a word, not numbers.
Okay. 1,500 pages of UFO-related research has been declassified by FOIA.
Freedom of Information
Yeah,
Act.
Freedom of Information Act by the CIA. And it's interesting. They have recorded that encounters with UFOs have repeatedly left Americans suffering from radiation burns. And this is, mind you, from the CIA documents. This isn't something I'm just saying. The CIA said that Americans have suffered from radiation burns, brain and nervous system damage, unaccounted pregnancies, and different psychological traumas, according to the database of the U.S. government, released through the Freedom of Information Act. Now, okay, so for all these years, up until very, very recently, our government and our CIA and different organizations have been claiming that UFOs never existed.
Correct.
It's all bullshit. Okay? While a few brave souls have came out and said, yes, they do. Matter of fact, we've worked on them and we know they exist. And now they've released documents saying that, hey guys, not only do they exist, but we've been lying to you for years. And here's all the problems that Americans on our soil have been going along with for all these years. And we've just been lying to you. So, yeah. Sorry.
I know, it's funny.
Our bad.
It's funny how they just kind of push it across the table and leak it out.
Our bad.
And nobody really even seems to care.
I mean, radiation burn.
Programming, man. Everybody's been programmed through movies to kind of get used to the whole alien thing. So now that the disclosure's being leaked, nobody really gives a shit. Like, yeah, of course they're real.
But radiation burns from alien aircrafts. Mm-hmm. Unexplained pregnancies. Which makes me wonder, okay, you don't know where these pregnancies came from. They're from virgins. Some of these documents claim that these women were virgins and had babies. Mm-hmm. After being abducted. So, what kind of baby is it? It's clearly not from a human being's sperm. It's a hybrid. Right, it's a hybrid. So what exactly is walking around in our society that we're not sure of?
Dude, and there's all kinds of... there's this one lady. I think her name's Geraldine Orozco. Yeah, she's fucking brilliant. You know what I'm saying? Just incredibly smart. She's fucking hot, too. But she is one of these ladies that was...
impregnated by aliens?
Abducted, impregnated, then abducted again, and at a certain point during the pregnancy, and it was actually taken from her, taken out of her, yeah. And then she was taken back when it was older. The baby was actually a couple years old, and they actually took her back and let her see her child. Yeah, man, crazy shit.
Well, here's something else that was released from the government. The American military-industrial complex has released that they have developed in secrecy an array of futuristic aircrafts and space vehicles operated according to new energy technologies that they've acquired through unidentified flying objects, such as electro- and magnetogravitational propulsion, with the aim of achieving control of space and time.
Well, let me ask you this: have you ever heard of Cape Girardeau, Missouri? Mm-hmm. So Roswell was 47, right? 1947. Mm-hmm. Well, look up the bombshell before Roswell. In 1941, in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, there was a UFO crash. And the wreckage, believe it or not, was actually taken to fucking Purdue University, which Purdue's where a lot of the astronauts and shit go.
Yes.
And it was from this wreckage that we got the transistor.
Oh, yeah.
And basically radio was born.
Well, the new hydrogen cell they're using on all new aircrafts. There we go. Take a shot, ladies and gentlemen. You know what? I wasn't even reading.
Labor Day, folks.
I was not even reading at that point. I just fucked up aircraft. I did it again.
That's whatever.
Aircraft. Okay.
It's because Arrow wants to come out so bad.
We haven't done Arrow in a while. We got to do an episode with him.
He's been chilling.
Anyways, aircraft. And it's funny, speaking of Arrow real quick, 102 downloads of my first Arrow video now.
Nice.
From YouTube, yeah. More than we have subscribers, which really kind of irritates me, ladies and gentlemen, because let me explain something to you. If you're going to watch it, you at least should subscribe. That way I know you're there.
Well.
I mean, Jesus. Anyways, our YouTube, or our TikTok's blowing up, though. Our TikTok has now 22 new subscribers every, day. Which is interesting because our TikTok has nothing to do with the podcast, really. It's just random crazy shit that I post.
Well, maybe we need to do more promotion on TikTok for the podcast.
I do. I put posts.
Or maybe we should get back on topic of this podcast first.
Possible. Maybe we should go back there, yes. So, speaking
about aircraft, though.
Well, speaking of aircrafts, yes. The new hydrogen cell they're putting in all aircrafts for the military was invented directly from Area 51. They admit that now. Okay, they're also admitting that there, yes, obviously was alien technology at Area 51, which brings us to our topic, Mr. Robert Scott Lazar.
Bob Lazar.
Mr. Bob Lazar, who was disclaimed by our government for years. And now they're kind of accepting the fact that, he was telling the truth.
If anybody doesn't know, I mean, I think, right, Bob Lazar is basically the first person to come out
in
the
public.
Yeah. And get the ball rolling on, hey, we got some fucking serious shit going on here.
Yeah, he was one of the first ones to say. And anybody who doesn't know who Bob Lazar is, Bob Lazar was a physicist who came out in 1986 and said he worked at Area 51 in the early 80s, late 70s, trying to reverse engineer hydrogen power cells and gravitational cells for the United States government from downed alien aircrafts from Roswell and, like you said, Missouri and different places.
And not only that, though, he also, yes, he was working on a spacecraft that wrecked in Roswell. But he also said he worked on ancient aircraft that they had found. Buried somewhere, but that it was ancient.
Oh, yeah. He said he didn't even know how old that one was.
Yeah.
And it was a completely different engine. That was where the hydrogen cell came from.
Right.
He said the ancient one had the hydrogen cell, and then the upgraded one had element 115?
115, yeah.
Yeah, it has element 115.
Unpentium.
Right. Which they've actually named now as, I can't remember, Muvamium?
I don't know, but it's now, but they
it's on the periodic table.
The same people that tried to discredit Bob Lazar and say he was some wacky nut job that nobody's ever heard of, then all of a sudden they go and put this element that he's talking about on the periodic table.
Yes, unfortunately, we cannot stabilize it.
Right.
But see, this is the problem with elements. When you're making elements, especially heavy elements like 115, it's a created element, created by man. So it's created in a chamber, and it was only created because of CERN? The place in Switzerland.
CERN?
CERN, thank you. It was only created because of the super accelerator. Okay, they accelerated particles to the point where they could crush them together and make a very heavy element that doesn't naturally occur on Earth. So they invented this element, but they can't stabilize it yet. It only lasts for a few seconds. Okay, and then it dies. But the isotopes in the element, different isotopes inside elements, depend on how long the element is stable. Mm-hmm. So if you use a different isotope, which they're experimenting right now with this element, and they're creating it with different isotopes, and the different isotopes stabilize the element. So a different isotope might make this element last a hell of a lot longer. And who's to say that a species way more advanced than ours could do this?
What he was saying basically
longer.
is that this element was being used to what? To create anti-gravity?
Yes, he said it was powering the spacecraft to create an anti-gravity field. The thing is, I'm looking for the element, I promise you I am. It's monobium or some shit like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I can't, it starts with an M.
But one of the things that I found interesting about Bob Lazar was that to me made him very credible is he's friends with John Lear. And John Lear's the man. John Lear's the son of Bill Lear. Bill Lear invented the Lear jet. I mean, John Lear literally he has like every flight certificate that you can possibly have. He's literally flown every single type of flying vehicle that you can fly. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's this really respectable, accomplished, successful individual that has absolutely no reason to fucking bullshit. And yeah, he is friends with Bob Lazar. Bob Lazar took him out to Area 51 because he knew when they were test flying the alien craft, watched it, sat there and watched it. You know what I'm saying? And John Lear also claims that his father worked hand in hand with extraterrestrials to get the ideas for the Learjet.
Well, see, right here, this is from the Los Angeles Times. It says the scientists have proven that if element 151 can be stabilized,
115.
or 115, yes, sorry, can be stabilized, then it is predicted that its nucleus will generate a microgravitational field that would extend from the nucleus, and this gravity wave could then be harnessed to defeat gravity and become a fuel propulsion system for spacecrafts. So right there, that proves exactly what Bob Lazar said back in the 80s, that 115 existed. We just could not get to the point in the 80s where we could create this element, and we couldn't harness it. And even now, we're just now creating the element.
Could.
Yeah, somebody could. Somebody much more advanced than us scientifically, clearly.
Right.
But the thing is we created this element now. So, 50 years later, we have now created the element. But we can't stabilize it yet. Once we figure out how to stabilize it so it lasts longer than a few milliseconds, we'll be able to harness it to do exactly what these UFOs have been doing this whole time. And again, brings me back to the point that UFOs might just be us from the future. Because again, if you can harness this element and it warps time-space, you can clearly travel through
And if they were
time.
working on it in 86, or in the early 80s, and as far as I can tell, absolutely nothing the government fucking says is true.
Well, clearly.
They very well could have already harnessed it. They very well could be using it, and they very well could be the motherfuckers flying around in the UFOs right now.
Right.
Just to fucking trick us.
And it's funny, up until 86, people say that you could find records of Bob Lazar working or studying at MIT and Caltech. And then after 86, all of a sudden there was no record of Bob Lazar ever at MIT and Caltech.
Yeah.
Then the FBI came in and seized a bunch of records from his house and his personal laboratories. And people say, oh, they were making sure that he wasn't doing anything terrorist. No, they were looking for element 115, and they wanted to shut him the fuck down. Because in 86, that was a no-no. They were not going to allow anybody to know that any of this was going on. In 86, they were still denying that 51 even existed. And now they've said, well, yeah, sorry guys, we lied.
In 86, Area 51, yeah, 51, yeah.
Yeah, Area 51 didn't exist.
Right, come on now.
But now, yeah, it existed this whole time, and we've been doing experimental aircrafts there. And yes, we have UFOs there. Sorry guys, we lied. Right. So that tells me right there that this guy was telling the truth the whole fucking time.
Of course.
Because you're putting it out there now that, oh yeah, by the way, we've known about aliens since the early 1900s. And yeah, most of our technology came from them. And yeah, we lied a little bit. Just a little, guys. Yeah. I mean, if they're releasing documents that now say that Americans have suffered radiation burns, PTSD, psychological trauma, and unexpected pregnancies, unexplained pregnancies, from alien abductions, and that alien abductions are real, and Area 51's real, then obviously this man was telling the truth from the beginning, and you discredited him for no fucking reason other than to cover up a massive conspiracy that's been going on since the early 1900s. Because they didn't think we were ready for it.
And who knows how long the conspiracy's been going on.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean...
At least since Roswell.
Yeah, at least, well, before that. I mean, there's documents of UFO sightings in the early 1900s, late 1800s.
Dude, there's fucking paintings in the fucking Middle Ages. I mean, Jesus Christ. There's paintings from the 1600s that have UFOs in them. The Bible is fucking full of them.
Oh, yeah. The Bible talks about aliens coming down from the skies then, and so does the Egyptians, so do the Greeks. So does
the Mahabharata in India.
Yeah, they all talk about beings from the sky coming down and blessing them with knowledge, blessing them with technology. As
long as there's been humans, there's been something flying in the sky. And how you can't question that. Because we didn't... What year did we even learn to fly the plane, man? What year? 12? 1912?
Well, we were beginning in 1912.
In 1912, Orville and Wilbur, right, flew a fucking plane for like 8 seconds.
8 seconds, yeah.
And it was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Well...
We weren't even close.
Then why... That's crazy to me, how no one can ask then. Well, then why... are people talking about things flying in a book that's 2,000 years old?
Right.
So and not only that, like, just look around the fucking world, man. Like the Nazca lines in Peru. You can't see that from the ground.
Well, this is the other thing.
Only from the fucking aerial view.
Even the Greeks said that Zeus and all these gods came from the skies.
Yeah.
In their chariots, their flaming chariots, and came to earth and visited human men. And they were beings beyond their knowledge. And people write that off as mythology and, just crazy rantings and, old religion.
Or luscious God.
Yeah, but what if... for a second, it wasn't just that. What if it really was beings from another planet that's had this technology that we're just now figuring out for a lot longer?
And what if they did create us?
Oh, because...
And what if we're still an experiment, an ongoing experiment?
No, because human beings can't think that way.
Right, true.
Human beings got to be... Look, human beings thought they were the center of the universe for... thousands of years. And then they thought they were the center of everything in the galaxy, even after they realized there was a universe beyond this. And then they thought they were the center of God's perfect little creation. We're the center of everything in our own egocentric minds. We are the center of our own destinies, and we're the hero in all of this. When what you got to realize
is... the pinnacle of God's creation.
Right, and what you got to realize is... there's probably beings way more advanced than we are. And if they were way more advanced in the 1900s and 1930s and the 1940s to come here with anti-gravitational technology that we're just now figuring out, how much more advanced are they now?
Well, yeah, and I mean, right.
Or, alternatively, like we've said before, it could be time travelers. It could just be us from the future. Well, it's very possible.
I agree.
That we're coming back because the future's so fucked up. And look how the environment's going now. Look at what they're saying. By 2050, they said it'll be 125 degrees in most climates in the South. And right through the heat belt.
In California right now.
Right, but it'll be that way on average during the summer in some environments. So if it gets to that point, and you fast forward that to, say, past 2050 to 2080, and the environment's so unstable that we can't live hardly here anymore, but we have technology to go back to the past to try to fix our shit, maybe they're coming back here to help us.
Very well.
Or maybe they're coming back here to figure out, hey, what can we do to fix this shit that's gone so wrong in our environment now?
Right.
Right. And maybe they're just coming back to do that. But we won't let them because we're shooting them out of the sky and shit because we're heathens.
Yeah, and I guess I kind of subscribe to the fact that there could be all kinds of different kinds of aliens, right? There could be time travelers from the future doing exactly what you're saying, but there also could be an advanced race that's just coming here.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be happening simultaneously, right?
Right.
Because, I guess the reason I wouldn't just say the time travelers from the future thing is true is because if they've been doing it for 2,000 years, you think they would have been doing a better job of getting us on track.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I just think it's interesting, too. So if they're coming down abducting and there's these pregnancies, that means obviously they're experimenting with some kind of hybrid, some kind of new human. And
right.
Like you said, that literally could be living right amongst us right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the fossil records tell us that there was different types of humanoid hominid creatures on
right.
this planet. I mean, whether they're the Denisovans or the Neanderthals or the Cro-Magnon or, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that
all
could
these
also...
people, right? So listen, we could have lived... Let's assume Neanderthal was what was here before Sapien.
Right.
Well, there would have been a point when Neanderthal... all of a sudden Homo sapiens starts coming along and just starts weeding in to the Neanderthal population. They would have had no idea that they were actually being wiped clean from the record. They would have not known that was happening, that there was a new species literally being hybridized to take over the planet as the top humanoid species on the planet.
Well, that
could be happening to us right now.
The missing link.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at that,
sure.
That explains the missing link. If you take Darwin's theory of evolution, and then there's this huge jump. Well, what if there's a hybrid? What if they took their DNA, combined this with us, and then that's where it jumps?
And that's what the texts are saying.
And maybe that's where we're getting geniuses like Elon Musk, because Elon Musk isn't human. There's something wrong with that man.
Well, see, and that's another thing, man. Just like our last episode, the Watchers.
Yeah.
Like we talked about, man, they were fucking punished, and their punishment was to live in the earth.
Mm-hmm.
In the earth. Just like you was just talking about. If all of a sudden our climate changes and it's 125 fucking degrees, we can't live on this surface, right? We got to get the fuck off, or we got to get the fuck in.
Right.
We would have to go in the earth.
Right.
We would have to live in the earth.
Right.
Eventually, the climate's going to stabilize and we can come back onto the surface. But who knows how long that will. Maybe that's 100 years. Maybe it's 1,000 years that we, with our technology, have been living civilization inside the earth, right? I mean, we could be a fucking hell of an advanced civilization that's living inside the earth.
Correct.
And maybe it's like, why would we want to go back up there?
Right.
We'll just send so-and-so up there, and we'll just control what they're doing from inside the earth, on the earth, but we'll make them think that they need to look up. They need to look to the sky.
And this is the thing about inside.
And they'll never find us down here.
Inside the earth is interesting because if you go into certain areas of inside the planet, there are lakes underground. There are rivers underground. And you could live,
dude, it's a massive,
literally underground.
Massive.
Now, vegetation might be an issue, but there's still vegetation that does grow. Mosses, fungi.
You can grow your own.
Yeah.
You can grow your own.
I mean, there's no sunlight down there, but fungus doesn't need sunlight.
You don't need sunlight.
Right.
As long as if you can produce artificial sunlight.
Oh, yeah. If you can produce artificial sunlight, it doesn't
people
matter
do it all
a bit.
over the fucking world. They grow their own shit using
artificial
light.
Because you can grow plants indoors 100%. As long as you have artificial lights. Yeah, you're right.
100%.
And if you used the Earth's heat to produce the light, you would easily have an electromagnetic source right there.
Right. If you tap into the power of the Earth.
Yeah, you'd have electromagnetic source, so you'd be able to produce electricity.
Which also would make sense that when somebody like Nikola Tesla figures it out, that they
shut him down,
and steal all of this shit.
They shut him down real quick.
Because if I'm running the show from in the Earth.
Oh, yeah, we can't have that.
And I don't want the people on the earth to be as smart as me.
You're damn right.
Right. But it's too, the in the earth thing's interesting too, because Bob Lazar claimed that he worked at Groom Lake.
Yes.
They call it an S2, whatever, S2 at Groom Lake.
S4
at Groom Lake. And that he worked at, and it was literally built into the mountain.
Yes, S4
you wouldn't know it's there because it's built into the mountain.
Well, actually, interestingly, and this is a personal experience, and I should put this out there, about Bob Lazar and about all of this. I dated a girl, and her stepfather worked at Los Alamos.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
He was
the Manhattan Project.
Yes.
Wow.
He worked at Los Alamos, and he said he had highly classified clearance.
Wow.
He was an engineer, and he had studied at MIT. I knew the guy, and I talked to him personally. And he said, there are things that you will never know that goes inside of that mountain right outside Los Alamos Air Force Base. He said, if you go 300 feet into that mountain, he said there's an elevator that runs down into secret facilities under that mountain.
Wow. So
that's
Dulce then,
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And he said personally, and this is actually what he said to me, he said, I cannot tell you what goes in there because it would violate my classification. He said, but I tell you what, he said, it's the most amazing thing you ever seen. And he told me personally, he said, I met Bob Lazar, and everything he says is true and is happening in Los Alamos right now.
Well, dude, I mean, if you think the government can't keep a secret, man, there's hundreds of thousands of people working on the Manhattan Project. Well, it was rare to have a clearance like that.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Most of them had no idea that the work they were doing, what they were doing, that it was being done for an atomic bomb. Most of them had no clue.
Dude, I got this dude drinking one time, and that's when he told me he met Bob Lazar, and everything he told me was true. And I said, I don't think you're supposed to be telling me things like this. And he goes, I probably shouldn't tell you this. Right. He goes, but everything's true. He goes, it's all happening. He said there are so many nuclear weapons down there, and he said weapons that you've never even conceived that the United States government has that they'll never let you know about. And he said it's all under that mountain. He said there is a research facility with thousands of scientists. He's telling me all this, and I'm going, this is probably violating about 15 classified laws right here.
It's fucking funny, crazy that you said that about the elevator, because I was watching a show. And they were talking about Dulce, and it was like a ranger, like a park ranger or something, and he was telling the guys that there was a part of the mountain where he's like, it literally sounded like a buzzing, like a machine, like something was running. Well, it would make sense that could be the elevator.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He said you went like 300 foot down, like at the top of this mountain, 300